Hey guys, so in this video I'm just going to start continuing where we left off. So where we left off in the previous video is we created the attack file and the attack folder methods. And the attack file method basically is going to attempt to open the file if it's a supported type. So if it's a zip or a raw file in our case. So what we're going to do, so to attempt to open a file, the path is going to equal to target.file_path. Okay, so now if target.file type is equal to raw or .raw, then what we're going to do, we're going to try to open it. So try rf equals raw file.raw file path. And I need to mention this. If this doesn't work for you, then what you need to do is check my previous, well, one of my videos where I show you how to open a raw file in Python. And you'll need to do that because there's extra steps to doing it. And depending on how your PC is already set up, you may need to take those steps. Otherwise, you're going to have a lot of issues with this raw file module. So yeah, just to note it, just to notify you on that. I'll put a link somewhere on that as well. So accept runtime error. So it's going to try to open it. If there's a runtime error, and as ERR, so this is the error message, the ERR. If string ERR, so if the message, we're going to put that as a string. If it ends with password required, then return true. And if not, else self.view.display underscore message box, self.view.display message box, ERR, M, yep, so it is recording it, equals show error. Okay, cool, so it's going to attempt to open the file. If it can open the file, then it's going to return true. Otherwise, it's going to display error message. So if we don't recognize this error message at all, it's going to raise that to the user. And then, we can investigate why that's caused. But otherwise, it's going to return true if it's a raw file and if it requires a password. Okay, and if it doesn't require a password, then it's going to skip this run step and it's just going to return false. So what we can do at the end here is return false. Basically, if no exceptions are raised that we don't recognize, that we do recognize, then it's going to return true, and that means that a password is required. So, yep, else if target.file_type equals .zip. So if it's a zip file, we're going to need to do something different. Well, I mean, more or less along the same lines. So we're going to, again, it's a zip file, try zdf equals zip file path dot test zip. This will enable us to test if we can open the file. If we can't open the file, so if that doesn't work because of a runtime error as ERR, then we're going to we're just going to enter our message quickly. So this is a message we should expect. So message equals password required for extraction. So if string ERR dot ends with message. So if the message of the runtime error says password required for extraction, then we're going to return true. That means a password is required. Otherwise, again, self.view.display message box, we're going to print the error to the terminal because then that means we don't recognize it. And then there's another issue at hand. Okay. And yeah, just to reiterate again, if you haven't checked that video on how to open the raw file, you're going to probably come across an issue when it comes to this part. So yeah, that will raise to the GUI. Okay, cool. So it's going to attempt to open a file, return true if the file's password protected, otherwise it's going to return false. And now if it is, we're going to actually try to crack the file. And the code for that, as you can see, is here. If the password is required, it's going to say it's password protected and it's going to attempt to crack the file. Okay, so now let's write the code for this. So now this is going to be a lot of code. Okay, so now self.view.insert text message. We're going to say to the user, attempting to crack the target file. So target underscore file. Okay, and self.view.insert text message. And then underscore, just a few underscores, and these are where the passwords are going to show. And then update underscore idle equals true. And then found equals false. So this is just a flag for us when the password is found. This is the last attempt. This is the number of the last attempted password that you try to open. And this is going to be the found password. It's the password that we find. Because we're going to need these. So now there's two things. Now we're going to start reading in the text file, the dictionary file that the user provided us with. Now, just one thing, I'm not using read lines, the read lines method, because read lines will store the whole file in memory. And if depending on how large your file is, that's going to take a lot of time to initially load up. So we're just going to read it line by line, and it's faster as well. Okay, so we're just going to call this PWS. This is our password file. So we're going to open the file. So open self.password file. It's going to be open in read-only format. And the encoding for it is going to be Latin 1, because the particular password file I'm going to use has Latin characters. Okay, and then, so now we're going to use enumerate for attempt and password in enumerate PWS and 1. So effectively what enumerate does, it provides us with a counter. And this 1 here is going to be the starting point. So for every iteration that we loop over, the counter is going to go up by 1. And yeah, and we're going through all the passwords in our text file that uses the password file that the user provides. So password is equal to password.strip. So effectively what we're doing here, we're stripping any extra lines in the password file. So now we're going to do two things. If it's a raw file and if it's a zip file, we have to do two different things. So if target underscore file dot file type equals dot raw, oops, don't know what happened there, sorry. If target file dot file type equals dot raw, then we're going to try this. So we're going to try raw underscore object equals raw file dot raw file target underscore file dot file underscore path and pwd equals password. Okay. If that works, then it's going to go to this next line of code. So it's going to say, we're going to set found equal to true. So that means it's been found. Our found underscore password is equal to the current password that we're on. And the last underscore attempt is going to equal to the attempt number that we're on. So if we're going over 500 passwords and the password is computer. Found is going to be true because we found the password. The password is going to be computer, and the attempt is going to be 500 because it's the 500th attempt we've done. Okay. And then if that works, what we're going to do, so raw underscore object dot extract all, and we're going to extract that to the save destination that the user decided to choose. And then we're going to break out of this for loop because we've got all the information we needed. Now, if that doesn't work, so accept a runtime error as ERR. So if there's a runtime error, because of here, like the file didn't open with that password. We're then going to write this code: if string error dot starts with bad password. Okay, so if it's a bad password, then what we're going to do is update underscore idle is equal to equal to the attempt 5 equals 0. So just for the purpose of speed, we're only going to attempt the idle every fifth password that we try. So we're not constantly updating it every single time. It's just going to save like time on the resources. So every fifth attempt, we're going to update the text output, the text box. So self.view.insert text message and f-string, our attempt. So attempt is going to equal the attempt number, and the password. So the password. And we're going to say failed. So that password is going to say that password failed. It's going to display that in the message. And also update underscore idle is equal to update idle. So it's going to update it whether it's the fifth attempt. Then what we're going to do here as well is if the attempt modulo 250 equals 0. So every 250th attempt, we're going to clear the text output, just so we don't have too much text on the screen. Okay. Then we're just going to continue on with our loop. And if it isn't, if it's a password we don't recognize, if it's an error we don't recognize, what we're going to say is self.view.display message box. We're going to print that error to the terminal. To the user, sorry. Okay, and then we're just going to break the program there because yeah, this shouldn't happen. So if it does, then that means there's an actual issue that needs to be investigated. So we're going to break. Okay, now this is basically a dictionary attack for raw files more or less completed. So now next is the dictionary attack for zip files. So else if target underscore file dot file underscore type equals zip dot zip, sorry. So now what we're going to try. So the password here for zip files has to be in bytes. So password underscore byte equals bytes, and then password, and the encoding for this is Latin 1, because that's what we're attempting. That's what our file's going to be opened in. Okay, and then we are going to attempt to open and extract. So zip file, the path is target file dot file underscore path dot extract all, and the path of our extract all, so the destination we're saving it to is save destination. The password we're attempting is the password in bytes. So password underscore bytes. Okay, sorry. Okay. Oops, sorry, this should be at equals. Okay, so that's good. So now if this fails, then an exception is going to be then an error is going to be raised. So if it doesn't fail, that means the password is successful and the file opened. So then found is equal to true. Found underscore password is equal to password underscore byte dot decode Latin 1. And our last underscore attempt is going to equal to the current attempt number. Okay. And then we're going to break out of that loop completely. Except, again, a runtime error. So accept a runtime error as ERR. And again, we're going to put it as a string, that error. if it starts with bad password, and we're going to do this. So update underscore idle equals tempt modular 5, let's put that in brackets, equals 0 and parentheses. Okay, so again, we're going to update the idle after every 5 unsuccessful attempts. Okay, and then self.view.insert text message. Okay, so then attempt is equal to attempt. And then password, so password, and we're going to say that password failed. So password failed. Okay, that belongs there. Okay, and then if the attempt modular 250 equals 0, then self.view.clear text output. So we're just going to clear the view completely every 250th attempt. And then otherwise on here, so otherwise if we don't recognize again the error, then we're going to have to raise this self.view.display message box error and show error. So it's going to be the type of it, it's going to be show error. Okay, I'm sorry. And then we're just going to break out of the loop. Now, the reason why we have the Z library imported again above is because there's also another exception that can happen sometimes. So I can't actually remember why this issue occurs, but it's very annoying and it was very hard to get over this. So we're just going to do, if this Z library error occurs, we're going to recognize it and then say if string Z error dot starts with error -3, which is -3, then that means it's like a compression error. So compression error, skip. So then what we're going to do here, we're just going to bypass that compression error. So we're just going to continue on so it doesn't break our program. Otherwise, if it's something else, then yeah, I don't know what it is. So we need to investigate. So we need to display that message out. So and then show error. Okay, and then we're going to break. So still, I know it's a lot of code, but then we still got more. So now we're still continuing on with this block. So remember, we're breaking out this for loop in the event we find the password. So we're going to go right down to here. I'm sorry, let's do 2. Cool. So now pws.close. So we're going to close our resource because remember, we're opening the file. So we always need to make sure we close that resource. So open the file, read it line by line, then we close it. Now, at the end of that, if the password has been found, so if found, then we're going to write all these messages out. So self.view .insert text message. And what we're going to say is f attempt and last underscore attempt. And we're going to say the password. Okay, so found password. Sorry. Save found underscore password. Okay. And then what we're going to say to the user again is self.view.insert text message. Let's just copy and paste this when it comes. So let's copy this. We're going to simply say password found. Okay. Password found. Okay. And we're going to say another message. Actually, you know what? This is going on for long. So you can write out more messages, or you can check the GitHub for the other messages you can say to the user. But yeah, it's going to be long typing it all out. So update underscore idle. You can customize your messages basically is what I'm getting at. And say whatever you want. And then what we're going to say to the user is self., actually I need to, we can just paste it. So now we're going to say is f files extracted to self.save_destination, and then update idle equals true. Updates, oops, sorry, down there. Updates underscore idle equals true. Okay, and then we're going to also tell them that self.view.insert text message if password will be saved to self.save_destination. Okay, and then we got one more thing to do now, and we're pretty much done. So self._, so once that's done, password will be saved to this destination. Self._ store password. So found_password. So this is basically going to be a text file, and it's going to contain the file location and the password for that file. So target_file.file path. Okay, so then we're going to store that password into a text file that we found. Okay, otherwise, if the password isn't found, safe.view.insert text message. We're going to say a message if failed to crack target file. Update_idle. Okay. Now, just to finish this off, so this is everything almost done. So that's our cracking method done. And now we're going to do our final method here. So store password. So we're actually going to store the password. Okay. It's just been a long video, but almost there. So now we're going to store our password to the text file. So the line that we're going to store is going to be equal to an F string. And it's going to be called password. And then target_path, and then a new line. And then the destination is going to be equal to f row string. And it's going to be self.save_destination. And then we're just going to create a file there. The file is going to be called extracted_passwords.txt. Okay. Then we're going to say f equals open destination. So we're going to create a and then a plus. So effectively, the a plus means is if this file doesn't exist, create it, and then you can append to that file. So this file doesn't exist, or it might not do. And if in the event it does, all we're going to do is append passwords to it. So we're not going to overwrite it. So in the event that the passwords exist, if it doesn't exist, for example, we're just going to open the file in this location. So we're going to create the file basically. And then what we're going to write into the file is the line, the password, and the target path for that password. So write line, then we're going to close the password file, this file in particular, and self.view.insert text message. We're just going to say a message to the user or to the GUI that found password stored to destination. So stored to this location, this file. Okay, cool. So that pretty much should be everything. And then what we're going to do in the next videos is we're going to start to test it. So if I haven't done any mistakes and everything's fine, this should run without any issues. But I think there may be typos here and there. So in the next video, we're going to build out our test cases, and then we're going to actually test our program. So yeah, let's do that. See you next time.